Arirang Special.
Our planet is sending us a warning signal. The signal is coming from Africa, the last remaining fertile continent on Earth. Savannas and meadows, once inhabited by a rich diversity of flora and fauna, are nowhere to be seen. Africa is drying out faster than ever before.
지금 이곳 아프리카에는 지구 온난화로 인한 사막화가 곳곳에서 진행되고 있습니다. 이곳 동아프리카의 케냐도 예외는 아닙니다. 산과 들이 빨갛게 황폐해지면서 죽어가고 있고 나무들이 타는 가뭄으로 앙상하게 말라가고 있습니다.
Grieving and suffering from thirst. The broken souls on this continent are crying out for help in my photos. It's almost time for the show to begin. I've come to enjoy the excitement that comes with being backstage, making last-minute preparations for performances. I've been an actor for over 30 years now. I've taken on many different roles on stage and made an effort to experience the depth of human emotions and find the truth about life. As I gained more recognition as a professional actor, I felt a desire to do something more. I yearned to venture outside my realm of movies and theater. I longed to grow closer to the world around me.
연기의 어떤 그 연기적인 면이나 또는 그 인간 박상원의 면이나 또 배우 박상원의 면이나 이런 여러 가지들이 다 정말 나이에 걸맞는 지금까지 살아온 연기 인생과 걸맞아야 되는 굉장히 그 조심스럽고 또 굉장히 진정성을 가지고 있어야 되고 굉장히 또 성실도 해야 되고 오히려 더 옛날보다는 더 불편한 그런 거를 느끼는 요즘이네요.
I've recently started a new chapter in my life. I no longer stand in front of the camera as an actor. I've become the man behind the camera, gazing out at the world through my lens. Under a clear blue sky, feeling the breeze on my face, I attempt to communicate with Mother Nature. And that's when I become one with our planet. If you listen closely, you can hear the stories of nature and our environment. With the help of my camera, I take these stories and pass them on to others. I discovered a world I never knew existed. Traveling and taking photographs gave me a whole new meaning to life.
답답한 도심을 벗어나서 가까운 곳에 이런 공간을 만나니까 정신도 맑아지고 가슴도 열리고 이런 자연이 우리 인간에게 얼마나 소중하고 또 지켜야 할 것인가 감사하고 더 소중하게 느껴지네요.
At first, I traveled to many destinations, wanting to surround myself with the pristine glory of nature. But I began to see what was really going on. Our planet was seriously ill, and I became determined to tell the story of nature to those who may be unaware of this grave situation.
우리 인간에게 너무나 가까이 있었고 그래서 늘 당연하다고 생각했던 이런 물, 공기 그리고 이런 갯벌들이 우리 인간들의 무관심과 무지로 인해서 자꾸 변해가는 것 같아서 안타까운 생각이 드네요.
In order to get more up close and personal with nature, I headed to Kenya in East Africa. I've always loved how Africa was so grand in scale and yet so pure. But what I found was the cold reality of Africa's dire situation.
이곳은 동부 아프리카의 관문 케냐의 수도 나이로비의 란다타지역입니다. 지구 온난화로 인해서 시작된 극심한 가뭄과 물 부족으로 이들의 삶은 황폐하지만 모처럼 만에 연휴를 맞았고 어젯밤에 내린 3개월 만의 단비로 인해서 많은 사람들의 표정이 달가만 보입니다. 하지만 이들의 실제 삶은 처절하기만 합니다.
Catastrophic droughts have been ongoing for the past 5 years, casting an ominous shadow over Kenya's capital city. 700,000 people are currently residing in Kibera, a town located on the outskirts of Nairobi. People are flocking to urban areas for one reason: they need drinking water. A water truck from an aid organization came into town today. The locals eagerly approach with a container in each hand. It's apparent that they've waited a long time for this moment. Buying water is a luxury they cannot afford. All they can do is depend on aid organizations for water supplies. A few drops of water was all it took to put a smile on this child's face. His excited expression broke my heart. All children should have the benefit of growing up in a healthy environment. But the children in Kibera only have minimal access to drinking water. Dismal living conditions make it difficult for them to dream of a bright future. Child carrying a water container walks back home. The container weighs about 20 kilograms, but the boy expertly navigates his way through the maze-like alleys. He needs to make one more trip back to the water truck, so he quickens his pace. It's because he has no idea when the water truck will be coming back. The entire family will have to live off a few buckets of water until the truck returns. The children in Kenya spend most of their time looking for water rather than attending school. Water is recycled over and over again. The locals can't even imagine using clean water on bathing or laundry. Naturally, poor sanitation is a widespread problem in this area. Towns with water facilities also have issues. The water's not clean enough to drink, and there's a disruption in water supply at least 2 to 3 times a week.
And water, we only get water for washing, not for drinking. We hardly get it. And to buy water for drinking, it's expensive. If you have a big family, you cannot buy water for everybody. There's no money. That's the problem.
Most Kenyan power plants rely on hydraulic power.
So this is the main generator we have. This generator produces 240 kilowatts.
But recent droughts have been affecting the availability of water resources, which is in turn aggravating problems with electricity supply. Kenyans are trying to squeeze out as much electricity as possible, but it's nowhere near enough.
In this aspect, we have to get our generators. We have to be ready with our generators. We put some oil in our generators, and this one we automatically usually costs a lot of money when we are using generators. And also sometimes we find in a case these generators cannot run everything, so we have to get shortage of some of the things. Some things they have to go bad because these generators we have, they cannot satisfy us with the amount of units of power we need.
Is the situation any better outside of urban areas? I heard about a place close to Nairobi where nomads gathered to feed their livestock water. These nomads have traveled more than 100 kilometers for water, but it looks like everything's dried up. This area was a reservoir just 5 years ago. Today, only a small pool remains, and the lands have cracked over the years from intense heat and lack of moisture. There's no water left in the reservoir, so the nomads had no choice but to dig. This water well was only a few feet deep in the beginning, but now people actually need to climb down to scoop out water. At this rate, people will soon have to dig a hole down to the center of the earth. Since there aren't any water filters available, this underground water supply contains dirt and other impurities. But having found water, that in itself is considered to be a huge blessing. Children take turns taking big gulps of water, trying to satisfy their thirst.
This water is not bad to drink, but it is so clear.
Iko na madhara kubwa. Tumbo, mtu unasokotwa na tumbo na hara, tena iko vitu ambaye iko ndani, iko visa nyingi iko ndani ya hii maji. Hata tukienda kushota tunapata maneno ingine huko ndani ambaye hata Sasa imeharibu watu roho. Kukunywa hiyo maji hata unasikia tu kama huwezi kuwa mgonjwa, utakuwa mgonjwa kwa maana utakuwa umefikiria kitu kama hiyo. Neku iko shida sana.
Many young children are being treated at public health facilities around Kenya for various health conditions. Waterborne diseases are carried by unclean water, making children particularly vulnerable to infection.
And because of this shortage, of course, the mothers, the children, and the community in general, they have a lot of problems, like waterborne diseases like amoebiasis and typhoid, and sometimes even we have scabies because there's no water to clean the children.
I made my way into the heart of Kenya. On our way to the grasslands, I suddenly grew concerned about the animals that used to roam the meadows. And then I came across something quite unexpected. A dead zebra was lying on the side of the road, and there weren't any marks or wounds on its body. This zebra must have been on a journey in search of food. Arirang is one of the regions in Kenya that's been hit the hardest by severe droughts.
Welcome to Kenya. Nice to meet you. Yeah, so. Karibu. Welcome.
It's supposed to be the wet season during this time of the year, but there's no sign of rain.
Yeah, Arirang. 826.
For decades, wild animals, livestock, and humans coexisted in harmony here. But droughts are breaking the balance of nature. The biggest victims were plant-eating animals.
There the cows. Another one there.
There were carcasses of dead animals scattered across the savannah. It was a gruesome sight. I was at a loss for words. These savannas were once full of life, but they've turned into a graveyard. It's also perplexing how the zebra population is shrinking rapidly. Over the past few years, zebras have been migrating long distances for water and dying in the process. This is a clear reflection of how these droughts are impacting wildlife in Kenya.
That's what we are thinking. Because it is not easy for zebras to die because of drought. Not easy. But this drought is really killing so many zebras. So it is not normal for zebras to die because they survive in very dry climate. They can survive in very harsh drought. But this time it is more serious because if zebras are dying, then cows definitely will be finished. Yeah.
Those who have survived, animal or human, are leaving this lifeless place one by one. I started walking through this desertified land with a heavy heart. Will the savannas of Kenya eventually become a place of no return? Everything I see through my lens feels precious and leaves a deep impression in my heart. Animals and humans were on the brink of death, struggling to survive. These landscapes may disappear forever from our planet.
마지막 남은 이 강의 물까지 다 말라버리고 고기도 없고 이 물을 먹고 살아야 될 동물들과 사람들이 다 물이 없어서 죽어가고 있습니다.
Nomads that raise livestock have been greatly affected by the desertification of the savannas. The Maasai tribe breeds their own cattle instead of hunting wild animals. They've left their homes, built by their ancestors, in search of water. As long as they can feed their livestock, distance does not matter. The Maasai are known for their brave and fierce warriors. They've chased after lions to protect their cattle. But the tribe now fears the ongoing drought more than any deadly jungle cat.
The situation is very bad and very tough, and it has been for a very long time now. So we fear that it may extend, and maybe soon after the cows are finished, maybe people also start dying, because that is when they depend entirely on cows. So the situation is very bad now. Yeah, the drought situation is very bad.
The Maasai put down their spears a long time ago and replaced them with the water containers they carry today, called jerrycans. The tribesmen save as much water as they can to feed their cattle before they start drinking it themselves. The animals must be kept alive for the tribe to survive in the wild.
What we are thinking after is maybe after rains, we'll have another new beginning, of which it will be very hard for the farmers, because if animals are dead, then to start anew or to start again, it will not be very easy.
What is causing Africa all this pain? It felt like this continent was suffering on behalf of the industrialized world, countries that are principally responsible for pollution and environmental degradation.
문명의 혜택을 누리고 사는 사람들보다는 오히려 그 혜택조차도 받지 못하는 사람들이 재앙의 부메랑을 먼저 맞고 있는 것 같아서 처절하게 좀 왠지 억울하다는 생각이 드는데요. 앞으로 사진으로 어떤 얘기들을 해나가야 될지.
Kenya is a wildlife paradise with 22 national parks and 27 wildlife protection zones. But even this massive population of animals is under threat. I spotted large towers of dust rising from the grounds of the Amboseli National Park. These airflow tunnels, filled with floating dust particles, forming large towers during the dry season, mark the beginning of desertification. it wasn't hard to see that desertification had already begun affecting this area. This national park should have been packed with safari tourists and animals. It's clearly no longer a wildlife paradise. I was expecting to see impressive herds of rhinos and elephants, but sadly, these large herds only exist in my imagination.
As you know, elephants are heavy eaters. They rely on so much food. And now in the absence of a lot of food to eat, they're also succumbing to this drought, and especially the young ones, the ones below the age of 1 year. We are also seeing them dying in big numbers.
In which all the scenarios tell us that droughts are more pronounced, they will happen more frequently and more extreme, but equally flooding events. We are about to witness here in Kenya, by the meteorological predictions, an El Nino event. So following a number of years of drought, we may in fact have extreme flood events following. So these are the kinds of scenarios that global warming is causing.
Kenya's national park had been abandoned by tourists. Only clouds of dust travel through these destitute lands. And all that is left are a handful of animals hanging on for dear life. Even the park's remaining wetlands are at risk.
저 킬리만자로에서 녹아내린 그 만년설 녹아내린 물이 이곳 암보셀리 국립공원 안에 이렇게 늪지를 형성해서 많은 하마들, 지금도 뭐 지브라하고 많은 동물들이 있는데, 지금까지 이렇게 넓은 호수를 형성해서 아주 풍요롭게 살았던 그 동물들이 이제는 뭐 불과 얼마 남지 않았어요. 그래서 앞으로 이 호수마저 이 전체적인 분위기 속에서 마르면은 정말 그 아프리카의 미래는, 또 우리의 주변의 모든 인간을 포함한 모든 동식물들의 미래는 없는 것 같습니다. 지금 마지막으로 이렇게 정말 아름다운 늪지를 형성하고 있는데 걱정이네요.
The animals in the Amboseli National Park don't seem to have much time left, and Kenyans continue to wait silently for rain to quench their dry lands. Can the heavens hear their desperate pleas?
I'm thirsty. Give me water, please. I need water. My life is drying out. The earth is drying off.
What Kenyans are currently experiencing is not an isolated problem, and many people around the world who are aware of this are willing to take some of the burden off their shoulders.
Climate change is the defining challenge of our times. It is the preeminent geopolitical and economic challenges of the 21st century. We do not have much time to waste. According to the world scientists belonging to Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, they warn us that we have less than 10 years to avoid worst scenarios.
Nomads who are seeking water have no choice but to wander the desert. The Maasai weren't able to get any water in the grasslands, so they brought their cattle and their families all the way to Nairobi. Kenya's capital city had a notable reputation for its abundant water resources. But for the nomads, reality has fallen short of their expectations.
Each and every single day, in this just area, they can die more than 10. That doesn't mean they die last month or they died last week. They died today and last night, and tomorrow, and from now on, they keep dying because of there's no grass. So they are dying the number of 10, absolutely, each and every single day.
Even Nairobi is experiencing a devastating shortage of food and water.
Nimekuwa na ng'ombe 210 na sasa hii ni 30.
The Maasai's cattle often roam the streets of downtown Nairobi for food. And Maasai tribesmen who used to rule the savannas are now seen as unwelcome visitors, disturbing the peace in urban areas. Their hungry cattle have eaten up most of Nairobi's grass and trees. The Maasai's cattle even feed on trash. These cows don't just consume plants anymore. I'm concerned about the cows getting ill after eating piles of waste.
시멘트 이런 거 같은 걸 막 먹고 있는데.
Many cows have already died from consuming waste. A shocking amount of black plastic was recently found in the stomach of a dead cow. The Maasai are very dependent on their livestock, and for them, losing a cow is like losing someone important in their lives.
극심한 감과 물 부족으로 물과 풀이 아닌 쓰레기 더미를 찾아 헤매는 소들이 정말 마음을 안타깝게 합니다.
It's tragic thinking about how these cows were once content, grazing in green meadows. And at last, rain falls across Kenya, as if to heal all the suffering and broken souls. It wasn't enough to end the drought, but it appears as though Kenya was reborn. Lake Victoria was filled with water for the first time in months, and the fish market opened right by the lake. Kenyans regard Lake Victoria as a gift from God, a maternal figure that embraces all living things. But although the local fishermen worked the entire day, they were only able to catch a few small fish. Droughts have impacted freshwater ecosystems, contributing to the decline of water levels, increasing the sodium content, and polluting the lake water. As a result, various species of fish have gone extinct in recent years.
아프리카에서 제일 큰 풍요의 상징이었던 빅토리아 호수가 예전에는 아주 그 물도 많았고 굉장히 그 많은 종류의 고기들이 있어서 이번 이 어부들이 굉장히 그 풍요롭게 살았는데 요즘은 그 기후 변화로 인해서 가뭄이 잦아지고 또 어획량도 많이 줄고 그래서 많은 이 어부들이 사실은 뭐 어부라고 하지만 생계행위에 어려움을 겪고 있다고 합니다.
Around 30 million Kenyans reside on the coast of Lake Victoria. The pollution of this lake is affecting the livelihood of many locals who rely on Lake Victoria for food and water.
Like we used to have almost 15 species of fish that by the in the ages of our grandparents. But now we can only see 3 types of fish. That is omena, tilapia, and maybe mbota. Like when you look at this side, and the other side, you can see the water hyacinth. That is also a problem to the affecting that is affecting the fishing industry.
We're in the middle of the Mau Forest. Aromatic tea fields stretch out for miles. A multinational company cut down trees in this area to establish a tea field. The Mau was the largest mountain forest in East Africa, and 12 rivers, including the Nile, run through this forest. Its luscious trees and clean water gave life and sustenance to Kenyans. However, a quarter of the Mau forest was cleared or burned in the last 13 years. And reckless deforestation is exacerbating Kenya's drought problems. In order to make ends meet, even local farmers are cutting down trees for charcoal production. Large companies are continuously clearing parts of the forest, citing the economic benefits of high-quality paper boxes and paper cups. Forests are vanishing from our planet at the hands of human greed. Will there be anything left in this forest after a few decades? Kenya has already sacrificed invaluable resources for the ambitions of other developed nations. This is the Nakuru National Park. Clean water from the Mau Forest used to flow into this national park, making it an ideal habitat for flamingos. However, the Mau is being destroyed on a daily basis, and Nakuru Lake has also begun drying up at an alarming rate. More than 2 million flamingos inhabited the Nakuru National Park, but that number has significantly diminished.
여기가 지금 원래 다 물이었었고 다 이 홍학의 서식지로 아프리카 최대의 서식지였는데 지금은 날 수 있는 홍학들은 멀리 날아가 버리기도 하고 또 많이 죽기도 하고 이동도 하고 그래서 지금은 이렇게 보잘것없는 그런 홍학 서식지가 된 것 같으네요. 여기 들어오면서 엽서나 이 사진에서는 정말 수만 마리가 장관을 이루고 있었는데 지금은 아주 실망스러울 정도로 너무 환경의 어떤 변화가 정말 그 안타까운 그런 그 상황이네요.
Flamingos usually drink clean water and feed on small crustaceans. But Nakuru Lake has been severely polluted, and there's barely any fresh food for the flamingos. Only corpses of dead animals lie dispersed throughout the park's premises. I came to Africa hoping to capture the wonder of living things. But my photographs tell a different story. A story of the loss of lives day after day.
And if there'll be no rain for some time, all the water dries up and there'll be no flamingos. To be so sad. And hopefully maybe in the next 2-3 months, if there'll be no rain, then there'll be nothing for us. It's very unfortunate, but we're hoping for the best.
Can we not find a way to breathe new life into these beautiful creatures and this once plentiful land? I wish there were a way to turn back time. But the solution to these problems is surprisingly simple. We need to start planting trees. Wangari Muta Maathai is known among Kenyans as the mother of trees. She founded the Greenbelt movement in 1977 and has since planted around 30 million trees. Maathai is not only planting trees, she's planting seeds of hope in the hearts of people worldwide. She also launched the Billion Tree campaign in 2006 and is actively campaigning to protect forests from deforestation.
This tree is called Muthega. Now, it is not time to blame. It is time to say, what can we do together to help each other? And the launching of the Billion Tree campaign was a symbolic gesture to tell the world that we can work together. In some areas, we can work together. In some areas, it is others who need to take action.
Planting trees is the most basic way to reverse desertification. Full-grown trees conserve water, and they can also mitigate land erosion in case of a flood. Korokocho is located northeast of Nairobi. This slum neighborhood was created in the aftermath of Kenya's rapid economic growth. Homes built from recycled materials. Water shortage. Poor living conditions. Korokocho is a typical slum, but the atmosphere here is more lively than that of other neighborhoods. Small booths line both sides of the street with a variety of objects on display. The street vendors of Korokocho sell everything they can get their hands on. This neighborhood is surprisingly lively because of all these eclectic yet useful items people manage to find in waste dumps.
저기 있는 모든 고물들이 이 쓰레기 더미에서 찾아낸 그런 물건들, 쓰레기 더미 속에서 물건을 찾아가지고 생활을 하는, 그리고 여기에는 또 아프리카 42개의 부족들이 모여서 이 쓰레기 하적장을 주변으로 생활을 하면서 또 부족 간의 분쟁이 일어나고, 굉장히 중앙아프리카의 케냐에서는 굉장히 험한 곳. 그러나 꼼꼼히 열심히 일하면 생활의 어떤 그 기반을 잡을 수 있는 그냥 살거리를 찾을 수 있는 그런 곳인 것 같습니다.
There's a place in Corococho where children's laughter can be heard all day long. I was instantly pulled in by the sound of beautiful voices coming from a small structure. Dozens of children were singing and dancing to an upbeat melody. All the boys and girls had a big smile on their faces. It was hard to believe that these children were born in slums.
잘한다 정말.
Their days mostly revolve around digging through trash, but music has given them a chance to dream of a life full of opportunities.
아이들이 내일이라고 하는 희망이 없었던 아이들이에요. 뭐 하루에 한 끼를 먹는다, 두 끼를 먹는다는 어떤 몇 끼를 먹는다라는 그런 개념을 떠나서 내가 내일 살아있을 때 뭐를 할 수 있을까, 내가 내년에는 뭘 할 수 있을 거라는 구체적인 미래에 대한 플랜을 세우는 것이 힘들었고 또 불가능한 아이들이었죠. 근데 지금은 내가 이렇게 하면 뭔가를 할 수 있구나라는 그런 가능성을 보게 된 거죠.
These children were striving to find hope in the darkest of times. The young boys and girls of Kenya will grow up to shine a light on Kenya's future. There are times when we feel like everything around us is crumbling down, but hope never fails. Climate change is mankind's defining crisis, and now is the time for us to make miracles happen, to heal our planet's pain and give hope to our future generations.